5 minutos para hablar sobre su carrera, sobre su proceso como actor. Así que sin más preámbulos vamos a presentarlo a él. Y yo hago un switch al inglés, que van a poder leer los subtítulos acá en las pantallas. Un fuerte aplauso para recibirlo a él, a Christopher Mintz-Plasse. ¡Fuerte ese aplauso! ¡Somos Argentina! ¡Hola, hola! Besos, mi hermano y mi hermana. Welcome to Argentina. Oh, God. Oh, God. Are you okay? Good. How are you? I'm doing great. Besos, besos. Besos. Besos, besos. Welcome to Argentina Comic Con. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited. Is it your first time here in Argentina? First time in Argentina, yes. I've been to Brazil. I went to the World Cup. I saw Argentina play a match. I saw Messi score a goal. Wow. It was epic. But first time here, it's amazing. Had a great steak dinner last night with some Malbec wine. Wow. Went to the casino. Cool. Lost $400. But I know, loving it, having a good time. Yeah, amazing. I was going to ask you if you had any time to like go sightseeing or try something local. Yeah. So steak, it's a must. Yeah. Totally. Don Julio was the restaurant. It was amazing. Absolutely. Delicious. And you need to try our barbecue that we call asado. Oh yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure if you're into meat, you're gonna love it because it's just perfect. I love meat. Love meat. Yeah. Cool. Thank you. And did you get a chance to like meet the fans? Did you do some meet and greets? Or we took some photos today. I took some photos with some fans and friends, and it was a good time. Everybody's super nice. Yeah, very happy to be here. Yeah, we're super excited to have you here. Yeah, talk a little bit about your career. Yeah, we have some fans that are super looking forward to meeting you. So that's excellent. So beautiful. Yeah, let's get this started. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure you get this question asked many times, but you started acting super young. Yes. What age actually? I was 17 when I booked Superbad. Wow. And I'm 35 now, so that's half of my life now that I've been professionally acting, which is just mind-boggling to think of. It's so cool that 17, almost 18 years later, people still want to talk about Superbad, kick-ass role models, neighbors, how to train your dragon. I feel very, very blessed and honored for the career that I've had over 17 years. It's a long time. That's amazing. And did you always knew that you wanted to become an actor, or? Yeah. I had been doing theater from a young age. I think my first play, I was 4 or 5 years old, and I played Aladdin in like a kindergarten production. And my mom has video evidence, and I believe I had to urinate the whole time. So I was just holding my little penis, and I was performing the whole show at 4 years old, just holding my little penis, walking around as Aladdin. It was a legendary moment, and that's when I knew I was going to become a professional actor. Yeah. And did people tell you that you were always like a funny guy, that you have something for comedy, or was that something that as an actor you just fall into comedy? I had a lot of really funny friends growing up, so I think surrounding myself with a lot of really funny people maybe made my funny bone a little bit stronger, my funny muscle a little bit stronger. And I would do improv in middle school and high school, so I was kind of surrounded by a lot of really funny people, and that really helped my auditioning for Superbad and getting the part. Well, that's easy, but you're also a musician, is that right? Yes, I play bass and I sing a little bit too as well, yes. Cool. Yeah. And do you enjoy one thing more than the other, like acting, playing music, or is it there's moments, there's cycles? So it is very much a cycle. It's very much whatever kind of path the universe tells me in that moment to go on. Because for a long time I was acting, 15 years, 16, 17 years.
And then I picked up a bass and I started learning bass, and now I play bass for a musician named Ben Queller, who's kind of well known in America, and he asked me to tour with him, so the universe was kind of telling me, go down this route, and he toured all last year, and he toured this year, which is helpful because work is a little slow at the moment, so it's nice to kind of have that outlet to be creative, get out and meet the fans, and being on the stage in front of people is really, really exciting. As you saw when I walked out, I was ready to stage dive onto you guys.
And maybe even like merge both and do a musical. Would you like to be in
a
musical fan?
Yeah. Wonders, miracles and miracles. Yeah, I'm down. I would love to sing. It'd be amazing.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And well, you just mentioned you started really young.
Yeah.
And was Superbad your first audition?
Superbad was my first audition ever. Yeah, they had been auditioning a bunch of professional actors. I was not professional at the time. And they couldn't find anyone right for the part, so they sent an email out to school departments in Los Angeles. They wanted a high school kid. So my friend's aunt heard about it, and me, 2 other buddies, went and auditioned together. I remember getting the audition at night, and they wanted to see what we looked like, so there was no iPhones back then, so I had to use my shitty little Samsung flip phone. I had to send like a headshot of me at midnight. It's very grainy, I look very nerdy. They saw that photo, they're like, yeah, we want to see him. And I went in, auditioned with my 2 buddies. They didn't get called back. I felt really bad because they got me the audition, you know? And then I got called back and read for Allison Jones and Greg Mottola, the casting director and the director. And they loved it. And then I got called back a 3rd time to read with Michael Cera and Jonah Hill. And everybody, they're not here, you don't have to applaud them. I'm kidding, I love them, they're amazing. But it was with, Mike and Jonah and Bill Hader and Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg and Sean Robertson. They're all in the room. And they told me to just throw the script away and just audition or improv with the guys. And I remember, it's kind of a famous story, but like I apparently stomped on Jonah's lines a bunch in the audition. And he hated me after the audition. And I left the room and he told the casting director and everyone that they can't cast me. And then that's why they were like, you gotta cast this kid. So him kind of disliking me really helped me get the part.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what do you, I can imagine that for a 17-year-old jumping into its first audition for such an iconic, did you know it was going to be so iconic? Let's start.
No, that's very kind of you. You can never know when you're making something that's going to have the impact it's going to have, let alone, a year later when it comes out, and then like 17 years later when I'm here with you guys because of that movie. But no, I was on set and I kind of thought the McLovin name was stupid, which it is a stupid name, which is why it's funny, but I didn't think it was going to be good. And then little did I know, it's what people will be screaming at me on the street for the next 18 years of my life. But I had no idea, and time only tells if something is going to be iconic or around. And so it really hit maybe 10 years after it was out. I was like, wow, I'm meeting 11-year-old kids who are watching this movie. And I did a Comic Con a couple weeks ago, and there was 12, 13, 14-year-olds that were like, it's our favorite movie. And I was like, you weren't even born yet when it came out. So it's amazing that it has this staying power, really.
That's great. And your character has so many memeable moments, like the driver license picture. It's viral everywhere.
It is memeable. I meet a lot of kids that are like, I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen the meme. I'm like, that's the culture we're in now.
And how does it feel to be a meme?
It's the greatest accomplishment in my life. That's why I do it, to be mean.
Excellent. No, just going back to that audition process, because I'm just picturing myself at 17, jumping into an audition or into a read with the actors that you already know are going to be part of the movie. I would be pissing my pants. How do you handle that moment?
Yeah.
Were you nervous?
I was terrified. I was terrified of all 3 auditions. The first one for nobody, the second one for the directors, and then the third one for the whole cast. I was obviously very scared, but when they tell you to throw the script away and you're just improvising, it kind of takes a load off because you don't have to put the pressure. Like, I can mess up. The audition is online. You can watch it. You stumble over each other. It's not perfect by any means, but it allows this sense of just kind of freedom. And when you hear Seth and everyone laughing, you're like, okay, maybe I'm doing a good job here. It also was helpful. I was in high school at the time, and these are high school friends ripping on each other. It's like, I was just doing that literally yesterday, So I had a good sense of comfort knowing what I should be doing with these guys.
Yeah, well, that's great. And for people that might be here and are not so familiar with your character, the character that you play, Polo. We're gonna watch just a quick clip and we'll get back to you and start talking about that.
Great.
Okay? Buen momento, el clip, señor director. Yeah.
No bad.
It's 10:33. Here. What?
You guys! Oh, where have you been? You'll see a goddamn heart attack.
Oh, man. That's amazing. Thank you.
I haven't watched that in like 10 years.
I was gonna ask you, like, maybe you watch this all the time. You haven't watched it in like 10
No, I don't enjoy watching myself. I'm always kind of like, what could I have done that better? I should have done that differently. But I feel like I'm such a different guy now than that kid, that child, that imbecile was, that I can kind of watch it almost like it's a different person now. Like, so maybe I could revisit it.
Yeah, and before jumping into the character, movie, you know we're all expecting a sequel, right? Like,
For Superbad?
yeah, you get that a lot?
Yeah, I think people would like, but you don't want to touch, I don't know, sometimes the sequel can kind of taint the first one, you know? And I know Seth and Evan and all those guys are like, they feel so happy with what that is, but I don't really think there will be a sequel in the future.
Okay, I mean, it would be good to see them like 40, 50 years old with kids and,
Yeah.
you know, what's life now?
Maybe the next one is 60 years later and they're a retirement home.
That would be
And they're
funny.
trying to get a lead when they're like 85, you know what I mean? Maybe that's what it is.
Cool. And talking about this character, how did you approach the creation and the characterization? Like, how did you become Fogo? Is that similar to you in any shape or form? Did you take inspiration from
Well,
someone?
like I said, I mean, I watched a lot of high school movies at the time, whether it was Ferris Bueller's or Days of Confused and stuff like that. But you know, I was in high school and I was making it, so I was just playing like a kind of eccentric version of myself. You know, it was, like I said, I would be riffing with my friends literally at lunchtime, and then I'd go and be shooting the movie at like a week later. So there wasn't like a ton of work put into it. It was just very organic and natural, and just like a heightened version of myself, really.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what do you remember from those days, like on set? Like, for example, the first day you jump on set on your first movie, being so young. Do you remember what it felt like?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I remember just being a kid in a candy shop because I had never seen anything like this in my life. I didn't realize that there was tape on the floor, which is where I'm going to be standing. And, you know, my stand-in would do the scene. He'd walk through the whole scene before I even shot, and I had no idea. To see, like, another version of myself wearing the same outfit. And he would do the liquor store scene before, you know, I would even do it. And so, and then, like, you know, in between takes, everybody would go back to Video Village and watch the take they just did and take notes on what could be funnier, what joke should we change, and so it was like, yeah, just everything, to be honest, about being on set was just so new and exciting to me.
And you got a chance to have a whole storyline with Seth Rogen and Bill Harder, who are just amazing comedians, and you know they were older than you guys. They had more experience. Did you learn something from them? What do you remember from all of that?
I learned that Seth loves marijuana and can absolutely smoke and then be on camera, which is amazing. You can get high and just act in front of the camera. Which if I smoke weed, I want to kill myself. You know what I mean? Like, I want to fall asleep or I want to go home. You know what I mean? So he was the writer of this movie, so he was just consistently throwing out all to give me different jokes to read. But I was actually 17 when I made the movie, so I had to have a tutor on set, and I had to do algebra and science. I had to school in between takes, so I wasn't hanging as much as everybody else was.
So you were the only one, like, underage?
Yeah. So everybody else would be hanging out, and I'd be like, I'm going to go do math problems.
Oh my God.
It was kind of a nightmare, but it's part of the job.
And were you expecting what came after that? Like, do you think you were prepared for the exposure? What changed?
No. The movie came out on a Friday, and then I remember the next day, a Saturday, at a burger shop on my house. I went in. One day, nobody knows who the fuck I am, and then the next day, someone across there is going like, "It's fucking McLovin," and I'm like, 18 years old. I'm just like, "What is this?" And then like everyone starts following me and chasing me out of there. It felt like a weird, shitty D-list version of being in the Beatles. You know what I mean? like, hey, like, I wasn't cute girls. It was like kind of like chubby 18-year-old guys. Were like, McLovin, and they're like chasing me to my car. I was like, this would be cool if they were like cute, you know? But it was very overwhelming to have that happen when I was 18 years old for my life to kind of change. And one day I can go out in public, and then the next day I can't. And, you know, it's like very alarming when my brain is starting to grow, and all these people are hounding me and touching me. So it was definitely, there were some panic attacks, there were some auditions and callbacks that I passed on because I just was having anxiety and stuff like that. So it was definitely just getting used to that fame and all that.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. It's kind of like a switch from day to night, really different lifestyle.
Yeah.
So it might, you know, need some time to get used to maybe.
It was. It took a few years to understand what fame and all that was like. It was very strange. But then I got a handle on it, and it takes me places like Argentina, and I get to meet such incredible people, you know? It's amazing.
Yeah. That's great. And do you remember any particular scene that you think, I'm having a hard time with this one, I'm just not nailing it, or and how did you get through it?
Good question. Hard time. I know that the sexy and hi, I see you waving. Nice to meet you. The sex scene was weird because once again I was underage, so I couldn't actually like be on top of her making any moves. So the camera had to be right here. So I was like thrusting a camera, which was very strange. And and my mom had to be on set for that because I was underage, and any underage sexual activity, your parent has to be there.
Yeah.
So my mom was there watching me perform fake sex on a camera. So it was very, very weird, very strange, but we got through it, powered through it. Yeah.
Cool. And I mean, I was watching the movie, getting ready for this interview. I was watching it again, and I just think all three main characters, kind of like make perfect balance between themselves, like personality-wise and everything.
Yeah.
Did you guys work that on purpose? Was that something that they told you? You know, you need to.
No, they weren't. No. Like I said at the audition, Jonah didn't really like me at first, and that really worked for the characters. So once we got on set, we really like leaned into that, you know. And also, I don't think Jonah liked me for a little period of time while filming. So like that animosity really gets picked up, and Michael Cera's just kind of like, I like both of you. I'm the middleman.
Yeah.
You're my friend. We're going to college together, and he plays that so perfectly. So I think that you know that dynamic of me and Jonah just not really digging each other really comes through and makes for a good kind of relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. So.